Yes, good morning, students. We are talking about post-fertilization events. So far, we have completed endosperm formation and embryo development. We move on to the next one, that is seed formation. The fertilized ovule is termed as seed. Typically, a seed consists of uh, seed coats, one or two cotyledons, depending upon monocot or dicot seed category, and its embryo axis, primarily with four components from top to bottom. If you go plumule, epicotyle, hypocotyle, and um, radicle, the root tip. These seeds, they are of two types based on the endosperm persistence. The non-albuminous seeds, non-endospermic seeds, where endosperm doesn't last in a mature seed, example pea, bean, gram, etc. Already we have learned about this thing. And albuminous seeds, also known as endospermic seeds, wherein even in a mature seed, after the embryo development, still the endosperm persists in it. It is left over there as a residual endosperm. We consider it as the albuminous seed, or else we may call it as the as the endospermic seed. Examples maize, castor, etc. Important one, that is perisperm. This is very important from exam point of view. Board exam, Gujket exam, and NEET exam. From all the three perspective, this is a very important line. Persistent nucellus in seed is called as perisperm. Generally, while the seed is formed, the ovule is transforming into the seed. You understand that there is an ovule with a micropyle. Within that, there is an embryo sac, and here your embryo is formed, and here is that endosperm formation. And now this ovule is termed as a seed. But what about the uh, tissue over here that is called as nucellus? Within the nucellus of the ovule, embryo sac was formed. So while this embryo is developed and the endosperm is formed, in that process, the nucellus of the ovule that is being utilized. So it normally disappears, it gets used up. Very few plants are the ones in which even in a mature seed, nucellus is present. This is called as persistent nucellus in a seed. जब ओव्यूल होता है तो nucellus होता है. When ovule transforms into a seed, the nucellus is getting used up. By chance, if it is left behind, then we call it as a persistent nucellus. That persistent nucellus is termed as perisperm. That is known as perisperm. This happens in beet, this happens in black pepper. In these plants, perisperm is found. So what is a perisperm? A persistent nucellus in seed, that is termed as perisperm. This is to be found in beet, black pepper, etc. Normally, a seed is surrounded by seed coats. An aperture in the seed coat called micropyle. That's very important aperture. The one through which oxygen will enter, water will enter inside the seed, and they will help in seed germination at some stage. So micropyle is a very vital, important structural aspect of the seed. As the seed matures after being formed, gradually the seed starts maturity. It dehydrates 10 to 15% by mass, means whatever mass is there in that, reduction of 10 to 15% weight, just because large amount of water is lost from it. This leads to reduction in the metabolic rate. Its metabolic rate will be slowed down over there in the seed, particularly in the embryo. The dehydration slows down the embryonic metabolism, and this leads to entry of a seed into the state of dormancy. Seed dormancy, an important phenomenon. A seed has to go for dormancy before it germinates. That period varies from varieties of seeds, species to species. But then, for most of the seeds, they cannot germinate immediately after their maturity. After their maturity and before germination, in between, they have to go for dormancy. To let the seed enter into the dormancy state, its metabolic rate is been slowed down. It's been slowed down, and that is achieved by dehydration. So every mature seed undergoes dehydration to slow down the metabolic rate, and that then it will enter into the state of dormancy. Madam, that student Noor, has she sent the diagrams to you?
No, sir.
Noor, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
We are not able to see your diagrams. Just now, take the photograph, send it to ma'am on a WhatsApp. Within 2 minutes, it should be done. Otherwise, you will be out,
Okay, sir.
out of the meet. Have we made it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Please follow that.
Yes.
Madam, 2 minutes you wait for her reply, or else you remove her. Fine. Fertilized ovule is identified as dash. Correct. Seed.
Sir, I have sent.
Okay. Typical seed has 3 components. Number 1, correct, seed coats. Number 2, cotyledon or cotyledons. Number 3, embryo axis, correct. What is another name of albuminous seeds? Endospermic seeds. In a seed, mature seed, if nucellus is found, if it is persistent in a mature seed, the nucellus is persistent in a mature seed, what term we employ for that? Perisperm, correct. Which plants develop the perisperm? Beet and black pepper, correct. Inside the seed, the entry of oxygen and H2O at the time of seed germination, it is permitted through micropyle. A mature seed undergoes dehydration. By how much percentage by mass? Yes, 10 to 15% by mass. Means कोई सीड अगर 10 ग्राम का है तो उसमें से 1 या 1 ग्राम या 1.5 ग्राम का वाटर लॉस हो जाता है, ऐसा. This dehydration leads to slow down which aspect in the embryo? Yes, metabolism gets slowed down. And this leads to entry of seed into which state? Dormancy. We go to the next topic. Vidya ma'am, received the diagrams?
હા સર એને સેન્ડ કર્યો છે બટ એ ફોરવર્ડેડ છે ઉપર એવું લખાઈને આવે ને આપણે પીકમાં.
Exactly.
હમ
Cancel karo and remove karo group mathi.
ઓકે સર.
Noor, you want to say something? Ma'am, she is not speaking. We are left with no choice but to remove her. We remove her and do not give entry to her now. She's out?
યસ સર.
No entry to her. No entry to anyone now unless that person was already present and trying to rejoin. Latecomers, homework not submitted, such cases must not be entertained further. Well, we know that post-fertilization events, they show that ovule transforms into seed, ovary turns into a fruit, ovary wall turns to fruit wall, or you may call it as the pericarp. This pericarp may be fleshy in case of fruits of mango and guava and many more. Or it could be dry in case of mustard and groundnut, etc. Obviously, chapter number 5, standard 11th, you have already learned these things. So no need to go in too much of detail. Also, you may have studied about what is called as two types of fruits. False fruits, true fruits. The one in which the fruit is formed entirely from an ovary. In the flower, there are different parts. Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Gynoecium में कार्पेल में different parts होते हैं. Stigma, style, ovary. Flower का जो stalk होता है, उसकी टिप को कहते हैं thalamus. Okay. फिर flower का stalk, पूरा rachis, the branch on which various flowers are born. Out of these all structures which I have mentioned, it's the only ovary that has to transform into a fruit. Such a fruit is to be termed as true fruit. Mango, guava, groundnut, mustard, these are the examples of true fruits. In some cases, the fruit is formed by the parts other than ovary. Other than the ovary, different other parts will participate in the fruit formation. Such fruits are called as false fruits. One example, in apple, cashew, and strawberry, thalamus contributes in the fruit formation. What is a thalamus? That expanded tip on which that ovary is placed, the tip of flower stalk. That tip participates in fruit formation. We call it as this tip. It will help in fruit formation. So we call it as the false fruit. Example, apple, cashew, strawberry, the thalamus contributes in the fruit formation. In pineapple, entire rachis participates in the fruit formation. Entire rachis, pura rachis participate karta hai. So these are the examples wherein fruit is formed by the structures other than the ovary. We call it as the false fruits. Example, thalamus contributing in fruit formation in apple, cashew, and strawberry. Normal trend is what? An ovary, after experiencing fertilization in its ovule, it transforms into a fruit. That's a typical tradition. Now imagine if an ovary without fertilization if it transforms into a fruit, then it is called as which one? Parthenocarpic fruit. जैसे आपने पार्थेनोजेनेसिस लर्न किया था ना, you remember parthenogenesis, an organism formed without the fertilization of gametes, without zygote formation, simply from the egg it is formed, or an ovum the organism is formed. That is called parthenogenesis. Partheno is without fertilization. Genesis, birth of an organism, birth of an organism without fertilization. Similarly here, parthenocarpic, partheno without fertilization, carp, fruit, fruit formation without fertilization. Now as there was no fertilization, the ovule will not transform into a seed. So these are gonna be seedless fruits. How it happens? It is at times natural, which is a rare phenomenon. Most of the times it is artificial, induced one. How can we induce this one? There are certain plant hormones such as auxin and others. If you spray on the floral parts, the ovary parts of the flower, then that gives the stimulation to an ovary to go for fruit formation even without fertilization. It is possible. Classic example, banana, grapes, oranges, they have been made. Now you may be knowing that banana, grapes, and oranges, and even some cases papayas are developed which are without seeds. So that is a case of parthenocarpic fruits. Typically, an ovary should transform into fruit through fertilization. But unusually, an ovary transforms into a fruit without fertilization. The second is called as parthenocarpic fruit. What is the another name of fruit wall? Pericarp. In which examples you can see the pericarp is dry? Yes, groundnut, mustard, etc. Pea, bean, groundnut, mustard, etc. In which cases it is fleshy? Coconut, mango, guava, etc. True fruits develop from example, and false fruits develop from parts other than the ovary. Example, which plants? In apple, cashew nut, and strawberry, which portion modifies into a fruit? Thalamus is a correct answer. Yes. What gets transformed into a fruit after the fertilization? Ovary. Ovary gets transformed into fruit through fertilization. So what if without fertilization, if ovary transforms into a fruit, what you call such fruit as? Such abnormal fruit is called as parthenocarpic. Partheno without fertilization, carpic is fruit. Do they have seeds or they are seedless? Is it natural phenomenon or an induced one? Tanvi wrong. Dhruvi wrong. Vrunda wrong. Sakshi is correct. Both. You see, parthenocarpy can occur naturally, but it's a very rare phenomenon. Most of the time it is an induced one with the help of hormones. Which hormone can help in inducing parthenocarpy in most plants? Auxine. Classic examples, 2-3 examples wherein we can produce typical, yes, parthenocarps, banana, grapes, etc. Now we would go for the next one. Madams,
હા સર.
Yes, sir.
એક સ્ટુડન્ટ મોહમ્મદ ને આપણે રિમૂવ કરેલો ને નામ શું હતું પૂરું? અચ્છા, that was Hussain, na? Okay.
Who, sir?
Huh. Somebody wanted the other pick for a while. This is the one. Now I'll go to the next. Seed advantages to the angiosperms. In 11th, you have studied something. Can you give me the names of the groups of plants which are seed bearing plants? One term was used for them. I'm sure hardly one student will be able to give me that term. For the plants which are bearing seeds, those which develop seeds, there is one term for that. And second, which groups of plants are included in this seed bearing category of plants? Is there anyone who can come out with the correct answer? Asta, you have written phanerogams. It's not the right term for the seed bearing plants. Seed bearing plants के लिए एक special term था. Devanshi Patel. Yes, very good answer. Fabulous. Dhruti and Shruti and others. Spermatophytes. Spermato is for the seed, phyta is for the plants. Seed bearing plants are identified as spermatophytes. And spermatophytes include which two major groups of plants? Yes, Nandinisha, correct. Gymno and angio. You see, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta are seedless. Algae, Bryo and Pterido are seedless. Whereas Gymno and angio are seed bearing, they are called spermatophytes. Also, they are producing flowers, so they are called as phanerogams. Acha. What is advantageous on the part of angiosperms to have the seeds. Seeds development का advantage क्या मिला है angiosperms को? Number one, see, dispersal of seeds into the new habitats, it will spread the species. See, the whole plant cannot move from one part to the other part, but its seeds can be always taken away from one part to the other part of the earth, and you can spread your species in the different parts of the earth. These seeds are taken away by wind, sometimes by water, sometimes by animals or birds. When they eat them, they pass through their alimentary canal, and in their fecal waste they are coming out. But by the time animal or bird has moved to a greater distance, so this will help in spread of the species. So angiosperms spread themselves with the help of their seeds. Then reserve food. Seeds possess reserve food material, which will help the embryo to germinate into a sapling at the time of seed germination. Normally, when you sow the seeds in the soil, the embryo will develop into a primary root and a shoot part. A sapling will be born, and that sapling will further grow into a new plant. When it turns to a sapling, it has a leaves and it starts carrying out photosynthesis. But before it turns to a sapling, when this embryo, young seedling, it is developing into a sapling, at that time, the nourishment is given to this developing young seedling. That is from the reserve food material in a seed. So most of the seeds, I am not saying all, for most of the seeds, they carry reserve food material that's gonna nourish the young seedling. Most of the seeds have a tough seed coats. They protect the young embryo. When you saw the seed in the soil, or else the seeds are released from the fruit, the seed can be easily be damaged, an embryo can easily be damaged. But many of the seeds have a protective seed coats, hard covering around them. So that gives protection to the young embryo, the hard seed coats. Then it's a product of sexual reproduction. You see, the seed is produced at the end of sexual reproduction, when it will give rise to a new organism through the embryo placed in it. That organism will show genetic variations. And you always know this fact that genetic variations are always welcomed in evolution. Evolution doesn't want successive autogamy or clone formation. Reason is that will lead to inbreeding depression. So system prefers to have a sexual reproduction. System prefers to have a sexual reproduction, preferably between two different organisms. So when these kind of seeds come up, they will always generate variations. Seeds are the basis of our agriculture. एक पूरा topic है, seeds the basis of our agriculture. This is the content of it. Few more points will be included, which are in the next slide. Actually, why I am specifying this and emphasizing upon these facts is that reason is that this was asked in a 2 years back board examination. 2 years back in a board exam, this was a 3 or 4 marks question. Seeds are the basis of our agriculture. The content is given on the page number 38. But ultimately, that is the information one has to use and make the answer. तो बोर्ड एग्जाम में हमें लगेगा कि आगे के टॉपिक्स कितने इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन इसमें से भी क्वेश्चन आ गया था. So there is no guarantee. Question can come from any part. Coming back to our topic, the seed dehydration and dormancy of mature seed. Very important aspects of the seed are its dehydration after being formed and ready as a mature seed. Immediately it's undergoing the process of dehydration, leading to its dormancy. This is a very important feature of the seed, very much utilized by the human beings, this feature. अब इसके अगेंस्ट एक और ऑप्शन सोच लो. As soon as seed is matured, it does not undergo dehydration, it does not undergo dormancy, then it will immediately undergo what? Germination. Soon it will start germination over there. Can we use those seeds as a food material? राइस एंड व्हीट के सीड्स जिसमें से प्राइमरी रूट निकलता है और सैपलिंग निकलना स्टार्ट हो जाए immediately after being matured. So can we use those seeds as a food material? Can we store them for longer period of time? पूरे साल का wheat का हम seeds को हम store करते हैं, rice के seeds को store करते हैं. Can we store them in the manner in which we are storing at present? If they were not undergoing dehydration and not dormancy? Tell me. Not possible, isn't it? We are able to store the seeds for years, the rice, wheat, pulses, and we can use them as our food because they are stored for longer duration. We can use them as our food just because they undergo dehydration and dormancy. इसे रिवर्स सोचो कि कोई सीड फॉर्म होने के immediately after the formation process, it starts germination. You can't store them. You can't store those germinating seeds forever. आपको समझ में आ रहा है मैं क्या कह रहा हूं? मूंग होते हैं, मूंग ड्राई होते हैं, आप स्टोर कर लो वीक्स, मंथ्स, ईयर तक. उसी मूंग को आप पानी में डालो, उसमें जर्मिनेशन स्टार्ट होता है, स्प्राउटिंग होता है. देखा है ना ऐसा? व्हाइट कलर के प्राइमरी रूट्स इमर्ज करते हैं, स्प्राउटिंग होता है. फिर उस स्प्राउटेड मूंग को कितने टाइम तक आप स्टोर करके रखोगे? नॉट इवन अ डे. सो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, we are able to use this agricultural product, that is a seed, particularly that of pulses and our grains, pulses such as moong and tuar and other dals, etc. Grain mein wheat, rice, etc. Just because they can undergo dehydration and dormancy. How long the seeds can remain dormant? Well, in some species, seed dormancy is for few days, few months, few years also in some cases. Rarely in some cases, even it can be lasting for hundreds of years for which they can remain dormant. एक दो एग्जाम्पल्स है ऐसे. जैसे फर्स्ट वन, oldest viable seeds. This is the date palm, a plant this is the one, lupin. Lupinus, name of the plant is Lupinus arcticus. I guess Lupinus articus. Commonly known as lupin plant. The seeds which were obtained from excavation from Arctic tundra in Arctic zone, tundra region is there, snow covered, ice covered fields are there. From them, 10,000 years old seeds were obtained, seeds which were buried in the ice, permafrost. The land which is covered with the ice is called permafrost. So in such ice, when they were excavating, digging out the things, they found that they got certain seeds. They understood that they studied that the seeds were belonging to the lupin plant. The scientific name is Lupinus arcticus. By carbon dating method, when they worked out how old the seeds are, it was found that they are 10,000 years old seeds. They thought that no seeds can survive for 10,000 years, they would have become died. But for experiment, what they tried is they tried to sow these seeds in the soil. Interestingly, these seeds germinated into a sapling, and from that the lupin plant. Can you imagine? Plant whose mother plant was 10,000 years old, I mean, was surviving in that era. Somehow it got buried in the earth crust, in the snow covered soil. Along with that, its seeds were also covered. Those seeds remained preserved over there in the snow for 10,000 years. They remained dormant. And today's time, when we recovered these seeds, we identified them as a Lupinus arcticus. With the carbon dating, we measured their age. They were found to be at least 10,000 years old. When we buried them in the soil, they could develop into a lupin plant. That is an interesting aspect over here. Another such old seed study was carried out, and that was in this plant, date palm. In the Middle East में, this was a plant developed called as a date palm from the, it is called, by the way, Phoenix dactylifera. That's a scientific name of it. It was developed from the seeds that were 2,000 years old. King Herod palace. This is in Israel, Middle East में, Israel country में, near the Dead Sea. Near Dead Sea. ये एक उनके उस रीजन में एक किंग थे जिसका किंगडम 2000 years old था. 2000 years back it existed rather. So उसका पैलेस था. तो it was buried in the soil. So जब excavation हुआ by archaeologist, तो उन्होंने सॉइल में से डिग आउट किया उसके किंगडम के पार्ट्स को, उसमें से पूरा पैलेस निकला, और उस पैलेस में जो सीड्स मिले वहां पे, so it was found that these seeds were of date palm and they were almost 2000 years old. This they studied through the carbon dating. उसको नेम दिया था फिनिक्स डैक्टिलीफेरा प्लांट, और उस सीड्स को सॉइल में बरी करके उन्होंने प्लांट को एक्चुअली डेवलप किया. So this plant was actually born 2000 years back from its mother plant, जहां पे उसके seeds developed हुए थे, और उस seeds में embryo था, और वो embryo 2000 years तक soil में buried रहा, dormant रहा, and जब उसको निकाला और properly stimulate किया तो it germinated into a new plant. इस plant का zygote, इस plant का embryo 2000 years पहले born हो गया था. So Middle East में oldest viable seeds were obtained from a date palm. How many seeds are there in the different plants? Now it's a variable feature. For example, in a mango, you can see a single seed. In chiku, you can see 2 to 3 seeds. In apple, you can see 5 to 8 seeds. In orange, lemon, you can see 15-20 seeds. But when you see the papaya, hundreds of seeds. When you see the watermelon, thousands of seeds. Orchid करके एक plant है जो epiphyte होता है, which grows on other plants. उसमें भी thousands of seeds होते हैं. कुछ parasitic plants है जैसे Striga and Orbank. They also have a thousands of seeds in them. Okay. चलिए. Which plant is which seeds are the oldest seeds? From which plant the oldest seeds were obtained? Lupin plant, correct. What's the scientific name of lupin? Lupinus arcticus. From which area on the earth they were discovered or obtained rather? Arctic tundra. How old they were? Yeah, they have gone through 10,000 years of dormancy. And when they were recovered and stimulated and then sown into the soil, they could germinate into a mature lupin plant, develop into a mature lupin plant. Another old viable seeds were obtained from which plant? Date palm. Scientific name? How old they were? "2,000 years. When archaeologists were studying in Israel, they were studying which part they found it? King Harold's palace. Name 2 parasitic plants with thousands of seeds in them. Striga and Orbank. That's correct. Name 1 epiphytic plant with thousands of seeds. Correct. Let's talk about an important phenomenon that is called as apomixis. Little bit complicated, but if you pay attention, you can always manage this one. Actually, a Greek term, apo and mixis, together make a phenomenon called apomixis. Apo means without, mixis means fertilization. Without fertilization, seed formation. Normal trend is what? An ovule has to go through fertilization and should turn into a seed. That is the normal tradition. Imagine if an ovule is transforming into a seed without fertilization. So then it is called as apomixis. This is a normal tradition, normal phenomenon. The other one is termed as apomixis. Tell me, if ovary turns to a fruit without fertilization, what you call it as? Parthenocarpic fruit. And if ovule turns to seed without fertilization, then it is termed as which one? Apomixis. It's a common phenomenon in plants belonging to Asteraceae and grasses. Grasses में wheat, rice, etc. आ जाते हैं. Asteraceae में sunflower is an example. So in these families, the Asteraceae family and the grass family, Poaceae and others, they are the ones in which many a times it happens, not always, but many a times it happens that their seeds will transform, or their ovules will transform into seed without the stimulation of fertilization. This is called as apomixis. It is a one kind of asexual reproduction. What do we mean by one kind of asexual reproduction? देखिए, इसमें दोनों का रिफ्लेक्शन होता है, सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन एंड असेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन. कैसे? तो somehow seed is formed in the plant develops the seed. अब आपको पता है seed होना, that means it's a sexual fertilization, a sexual reproduction product. But seed कैसे हुआ? तो without fertilization. So this seed is a product of only one parent. Am I right or wrong? जब fertilization होता है तब जाके मेल और फीमेल गैमेट्स मिलके एम्ब्रियो बनाते हैं. अब यहाँ पे fertilization नहीं हुआ है, तो without male gamete, a female gamete has developed into an embryo. The egg cell is transforming itself into an embryo without fertilization. So obviously that will be from single parent. That will be from a single parent. So when there is a single parent involved, no fertilization involved, it has to be asexual reproduction. जब जब fertilization होता है तब जाके वो reproduction sexual fertilization बनता है. जब fertilization involved नहीं है, तो you have to call it as asexual reproduction. And this is the one wherein no fertilization is involved. Simple. अच्छा, कैसे होता है? मैं आपको एक नॉर्मल ट्रेंड एक्सप्लेन करता हूं. प्लीज इसको अंडरस्टैंड करो, वरना एपोमिक्सिस क्लियर नहीं होगा. व्हाट्स अ नॉर्मल ट्रेडिशन? Inside the embryo sac, megaspore mother cell, it gives rise to four microspores. Out of that, only one is left as a functional microspore, and that functional microspore develops an embryo sac with antipodals, with polar nuclei, and with egg cell and synergids. उसमें से egg cell में development होता है fertilization and a new organism is developed over there. That's a normal trend. यहाँ पे imagine करो, you have a megaspore mother cell, and these megaspore mother cell does not undergo meiosis. It does not undergo meiosis, and it makes megaspores through mitosis. So these my mistake, by the way, huh? Please accept this, my apology. These are supposed to be megaspores, which are haploid and 4, of which 1 megaspore is left. Here you can see the megaspores. They are gonna be the diploid one. Have a look. And then one megaspore is left, and that makes your structures. You know what will be the difference between this egg? This egg is supposed to be which egg? Diploid egg. You understand this, all of you? How many of you understand? 1, 2, 3, 4. So many of you can understand now. How many of you do not understand? Say doubt or not clear or not understood. लिखो ऐसा. Yes, no one has any problem in the same. एक डिफरेंस क्या है कि यहाँ पे हैप्लॉइड एग सेल है. It should be fertilized by the male gamete and develop the zygote and embryo. Here the egg cell is diploid because megaspore was diploid, because megaspore mother cell did not go for meiosis, it has gone for only mitosis. So the diploid egg cell doesn't require male gamete. On its own it can develop as a zygote, and from that the embryo. So now imagine if you go for this pattern, straight away your egg cell is diploid and it will behave like an embryo and will develop a zygote, and it will develop into embryo. So your seed will have an embryo which is not formed through fertilization, which is formed from diploid egg cell. How many of you understand this now? अब इस एग सेल में और कोई ऑर्गेनिज्म का गैमेट का जेनेटिक मटेरियल नहीं आया, तो ये जाइगोट में वेरिएशंस नहीं होंगे. इट विल बी आइडेंटिकल टू द मदर प्लांट. तो एपोमिक्सिस विल लीड टू clone formation, though the seeds are developed, but when you grow the seeds into a next generation, it's gonna be the clone organism, genetically identical. So apomixis produces clones over there. Do you understand this? Chaliye, in apomixis, the Greek term, what is the meaning of the term apo? Greek term apo refers to without. Here mixis refers to fertilization, isn't it? A literal one-line definition of apomixis is what? Seed formation without fertilization. Excellent. In which families the plants tend to show the apomixis frequently? Yes, Astracean grasses. This gives an impression as the seeds are formed. It gives an impression that it is a sexual reproduction because seeds are involved. But in reality is a one type of what? Asexual reproduction. In normal case, haploid egg and haploid male gamete fuse to form, fertilize to form the zygote that develops into an embryo. In this case, an embryo is developed from what? Because zygote word तो नहीं आएगा. Zygote तो product होती है fertilization की. यहाँ पे तो नहीं हो रहा है. Which type of egg cell? Which type of egg cell? Diploid egg cell developing into an embryo. बीच में zygote word ही नहीं आएगा. Diploid egg cell and straight away embryo. अच्छा, ये diploid egg cell क्यों प्रोड्यूस हुआ? कौन सा डिवीजन नहीं हुआ ड्यूरिंग द megasporogenesis? Yes, there was no meiosis. Hence, you have entire setup in which all the cells are diploid because the original cell was megaspore mother cell that was diploid and no meiosis. Hence, egg cell finally formed in embryo sac was also diploid. There is another important phenomenon that takes place in plants, and that is called polyembryony. Now you know that in a plant, this is stigma, this is style, this is ovary. Inside the ovary, what I have pointed out is what? An ovule. That is termed as an ovule. And inside the ovule, this is what? The last pointer is referring to an embryo sac. Very nice answer. And in an embryo sac, normally one embryo develops from this cell that is called as zygote, and its embryo is called as zygotic embryo, the embryo that develops from the typical zygote. Now, can you observe the fact that inside an ovary there can be one or more ovule, but inside an ovule there are always how many embryo sacs inside an ovule? Always one. Please remember this line. An ovary may have a one or more ovule, but an ovule always has got one embryo sac. Normal condition. And inside an embryo sac, how many egg cells are always formed? Single. So there can be only one zygotic embryo. That's a typical setup. That in an ovule, only one embryo, that is a zygotic embryo, that is formed. So monoembryony is a normal phenomenon. Now what is an abnormal with respect to it? What is an abnormal with respect to it? Polyembryony. More than one embryos in an ovule is called polyembryony. Polyembryony is actually very common in gymnosperms, not so common in angiosperms. But even in angiosperms, it is found in mango, citrus, onion, groundnut, etc. Question is, how come there is a polyembryony? Look at an ovule. How many embryo sacs are there in this ovule? Tell me. 2. So this may be one ovule, but within this there may be 2 embryos developed in future. Isn't it more than one embryo in an ovule? Yes or no? Polyembryony. One ovule with more than one embryo sac, which is an unusual, and each embryo sac develops into an embryo. So obviously this is gonna turn into a polyembryony. Another one, in an ovule, one embryo sac. But abnormally in a one embryo sac, there are 2 egg cells. Each egg cell will make one zygotic embryo, another one will make another zygotic embryo. एक ओव्यूल के एक एम्ब्रियो सैक में 2 zygotic embryo. Again, what you call this phenomenon? An ovule with 2 embryos, the seed with 2 embryos or more than one embryos. This is again to be termed as what? Polyembryony. See the third option. In an ovule, single embryo sac possesses single egg cell. So there will be a one normal typical zygotic embryo. But an additional embryo is formed by any other structure, such as cells of nucellus or cells of ovule envelope or cells of antipodal region or the cells of this synergy. You see, within an embryo sac, synergid cell or an antipodal cell will make an additional embryo over and above to the zygotic embryo. Or else an embryo sac may have only one zygotic embryo. But outside embryo sac, but within the seed coat cell, or maybe the cell of that nucellus which was around it, they will develop into an embryo. That additional embryo is also there in the same seed. That would make it which one? Polyembryony. देखिए zygotic embryo तो typical diploid होता है, but आप सोचो कि कोई एंटीपोडल सेल का एम्ब्रियो बन जाए या फिर कोई synergid का एम्ब्रियो बन जाए, तो that would be the haploid embryo. And along with the diploid zygotic embryo, कहीं पे seed coat का या nucellus का embryo बन जाए, तो because they are diploid, that is going to be known as which one? Diploid embryo. But additional embryo can turn up from seed coat cell, nucellus cell, antipodal cell, or else synergid cell. That would be making it polyembryony. Have you understood polyembryony? आप अगर कंसेप्चुअली अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे तो बहुत ही इजी रहेगा पूरा प्रोसेस अंडरस्टैंड करना. जैसे यहाँ पे एम्ब्रियो सैक में देखिए, ये जाइगोटिक एम्ब्रियो है टुवर्ड्स माइक्रोपाइल. हैव अ लुक, एंटीपोडल सेल ने एक एक्स्ट्रा एम्ब्रियो प्रिपेयर कर लिया है. So basically, if you understand the normal tradition, it is easy to understand the abnormal condition called polyembryony. What is the definition of polyembryony? What is the definition of polyembryony? More than one embryo in an ovule. Look, in an ovule, there should be a one embryo sac. In an embryo sac, there should be only one egg cell that is to develop into zygotic embryo. No other cell should form any embryo within an ovule. But abnormally, sometimes what happens? That leads to polyembryony. By the way, polyembryony is a very common phenomenon. In which cases? Can you tell me? Mango, citrus, etc., groundnut, onion, etc. Actually, it's a frequent phenomenon in gymno, less frequent in angio, and in angio it happens in onion, groundnut, mango, citrus, etc. What's the one possibility that might lead to polyembryony? What's the one possibility that leads to polyembryony? The one which I have pointed out. What happens in that? Two embryo sacs in an ovule, unusual. Instead of one, two embryo sacs in an ovule. Each one developing its individual respective embryo. What about the second possibility? Two egg cells in an embryo sac. An ovule has a one embryo sac, up to that normal. But abnormal embryo sac has two egg cell abnormally, unusually. That leads to what is called as polyembryony. And in third case, an ovule with one embryo sac with one egg cell making one zygotic embryo. What is the other option in this case? Additional embryos are formed by either by antipodals and synergids from embryo sac, they are to be haploid ones, or else diploid embryos can be, additional diploid embryos can be formed by diploid additional embryo can be formed by nucellus or seed coat cells, because seed coat and nucellus are sporophytic components. Diploid embryo sac के components, gametophytic components, they are haploid. So that was about it. One last topic is left. I'm confused regarding time availability. Do you have another lecture after this? Which subject lecture is there after this? Physics. Who is the one? Nimish sir or someone else is there? Nimish sir is there? Okay. He starts at what? 11:30. Fine. I talk to him and then I'll get back to you if he can delay by some time. Okay, students. Sir is ready to start at 11:45. He will start the lecture at 11:45. So we have got the time next 20 minutes. It's 11:10 now. Our lecture will get over at 11:30. So I'll complete this last topic. Have a look. Use of apomixis in a seed industry. Use of apomixis in a seed industry. थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रोसेस है, उसको प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड करना आप लोग. Do you remember in a last lecture I talked about artificial hybridization to produce hybrid plant seeds? Two different varieties. Our domestic variety of rice or maize or wheat to be crossed with the domestic variety of another country. Though different countries ki rice, domestic varieties of rice, their fertilization and getting the hybrid seeds and hybrid generation of the plant, giving desirable characters of both parents. And in that, artificial hybridization is employed to do so, to achieve this one. How many of you can understand this much? The crop improvement procedure. If your existing variety is having inferior features, you can cross it with a similar plant of another country and you can improve your variety. To do so, you have to carry out artificial hybridization. The seeds that you obtain at the end of the process are called as hybrid seeds. And the plant generation that you develop are the hybrid plants. And generally, they give desirable characters in that generation. But if we allow that generation to reproduce and get the new generation, आप understand करो, A variety of one country, B variety of another country, artificial hybridization, and you got a C variety. This is the hybrid variety. You grow and you get the crop. वहां तक तो ठीक है. अगर इसके रिप्रोडक्शन से, सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन से नेक्स्ट जनरेशन अगर मिलती है, तो पता है इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है? This will not retain the characters, better characters of its parent generation. क्यों? क्योंकि ये सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन से मिला है. सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन जब होता है तो गैमेट फॉर्मेशन के टाइम पे मियोसिस प्रोसेस में क्रोमोसोम्स सेपरेट हो जाते हैं एक ही पेरेंट में से आए हुए, और इसको कहते हैं सेग्रीगेशन फिनोमेना, और नए क्रोमोसोम्स का एक कॉम्बिनेशन प्रिपेयर होता है गैमेट्स में. When these gametes participate, they generate variations. They generate variations. आप इमेजिन करो कि ये प्रोडक्ट जो होगा, ये ऑर्गेनिज्म जो होगा, उसमें वेरिएशंस आ गए हैं, तो इट विल नॉट बी आइडेंटिकल टू इट्स पेरेंट. तो इसके जो डिजायरेबल कैरेक्टर्स हमने डेवलप किए थे इस आर्टिफिशियल रिप्रोडक्शन से, वो इसमें लॉस्ट हो जाएंगे. How many of you understand up to this point? Acha, many of you understand. How many of you do not understand this one? Not a single one with doubts or not clear or not understood. I said that if there are two varieties of rice, A variety, B variety, they have some desirable characters. You carry out artificial hybridization and develop a C variety which has desirable features of both parents together. इसमें दोनों के डिजायरेबल कैरेक्टर्स आ गए. इसका ग्रोथ बेटर है, इसका न्यूट्रिएंट वैल्यू ज्यादा है, इस प्लांट को आप ग्रो कर रहे हो और इसकी प्रोडक्ट को आप यूटिलाइज करते हो. बट इमेजिन इसको आप आगे सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन में अलाउ करो, सेल्फ या क्रॉस फर्टिलाइजेशन से इसके सीड्स ऑब्टेन करो, नॉर्मल रेगुलर सीड्स ऑफ सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन, एंड उसको नेक्स्ट जनरेशन में ग्रो करो. So these generation plants will not have all these desirable characters of their parent C plant. D कैसे डेवलप हुआ? तो C के सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन से, बट वो रैंडम होगा, नॉन सिलेक्टेड होगा. तो इसमें क्या होगा? कैरेक्टर्स में इंफीरियरिटी भी आ सकती है. C कैसे डेवलप हुआ था? सिलेक्टेड पेरेंट्स को लेके उनके आर्टिफिशियल हाइब्रिडाइजेशन से. सो दैट ब्रॉट इन डिजायरेबल कैरेक्टर्स ऑफ बोथ साइड्स. फिर उनमें से पर्टिकुलर वन को पिक करके जिसमें सब डिजायरेबल कैरेक्टर्स थे, वो सी वैरायटी के सीड्स को सिलेक्ट किया था. तो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू रिप्रोडक्शंस. दोनों सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन थे. ये सिलेक्टिव सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन था, ये रैंडम सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन. अब ऐसा करते हैं तो क्वालिटी इंफीरियर हो जाती है. तो फार्मर्स क्या करते हैं? सी वैरायटी को ग्रो कर दिया, उस जनरेशन तक मैटर खत्म. नेक्स्ट ईयर अगेन दे ऑब्टेन द सीड्स फ्रॉम द कंपनीज व्हिच कैरी आउट दिस प्रोसेस एंड गिव यू द सीड्स ऑफ हाइब्रिड कैटेगरी. Farmer needs to purchase hybrid seeds every year from the companies, industries which produce these hybrid seeds. They cannot utilize the hybrid seeds के generation को use करके उसमें से ही नई generation के seeds use नहीं कर सकते. इसमें से sexual reproduction के next generation seeds they cannot use because those plants will be inferior. So every year company will carry out artificial reproduction and produce hybrid variety seeds, and these seeds will be sold to the farmers and farmers will grow them in their fields. अब इससे जो प्रॉब्लम होता है वो ये है कि every year farmer will have to purchase new seeds. That makes the agriculture activity very expensive. That makes the agricultural activity very expensive. How many are not clear with this? Hybrid plant seeds which are obtained from the industry, when you grow them into their progeny, these progeny, if it is allowed to carry out sexual reproduction and get the next generation, it won't be able to maintain the desirable characters of the hybrid. Hence, industry will produce hybrid seeds every year, and every year these seeds are planted, crop is obtained, that's all. It is not used to go for next generation from that hybrid variety. That is the reason why these costly seeds are to be purchased every year, and that makes the agricultural activity very expensive for the farmer. How many could understand this much? किसी को भी डाउट है तो इस पॉइंट पे बोल दो. आप हाइब्रिड सीड्स को ग्रो करके क्रॉप रेस कर सकते हो, बट उस क्रॉप में से नेक्स्ट जनरेशन के सीड्स नहीं मिलेंगे, क्योंकि अगर उनको यूज करना है आपको नेक्स्ट जनरेशन के लिए, तो फिर आपके अच्छे डिजायरेबल कैरेक्टर्स का लॉस हो जाएगा. बट इमेजिन इफ साइंटिस्ट कैन मैनेज टू डू दिस थिंग, कि आपने हाइब्रिड सीड्स में से प्लांट्स ग्रो किए, और उसका सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन की जगह पे उसमें आप एपोमिक्टिक सीड्स को डेवलप कर दे, तो आपको नेक्स्ट जनरेशन के लिए सीड्स तो मिल जाएंगे, एट द सेम टाइम as they are produced through apomixis, there will be no variations in that. Apomictic seeds कैसे plants produce करते हैं आप मुझे बोलिए. तो जो सी वेराइटी थी उसमें से सी वेराइटी का ही प्लांट्स डेवलप हो गए. क्यों ऐसा हुआ? यहां पे हम अगर सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन कराते तो कैरेक्टर्स लॉस्ट हो जाते, पर यहां पे हमने क्या करवाया है? एपोमिक्सिस. Apomixis will retain the desirable characters of parents. और वही पेरेंट्स को अगर सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन अलाउ करते तो वेराइटी विल बी लूजिंग द फीचर्स ऑफ पेरेंट्स. यहां पे पेरेंटल फीचर्स को रिटेन किया जाता है, यहां पे लॉस हो जाएगा ऑफ द पेरेंट्स. That is the reason why apomixis is a very vital phenomenon. Scientists and researchers are trying to improve it so that they can develop apomictic seeds once they develop the hybrid. A variety, A variety, B variety, उनका artificial reproduction करो, artificial hybridization करो, then get C variety. This is gonna be the hybrid variety, and from that hybrid, via this time around apomixis, you produce the seeds which will retain the features of that hybrid variety. This is how the apomixis is utilized by the industries. Once they produce the hybrid seeds, subsequent generations they produce by apomixis. So hybrid के characters भी maintain रहेंगे, और every year उनको next generation का next generation के लिए seeds purchase भी नहीं करने पड़ेंगे farmers को. उसी plant में से वो apomixis induce करके next generation के plants को produce करता रहेगा farmer. एपोमिक्सिस में मियोसिस नहीं होता है, फर्टिलाइजेशन ऑफ गैमेट्स नहीं होता है यहाँ पे, सो कैरेक्टर्स डू नॉट गेट सेग्रीगेटेड, सेपरेट नहीं होते हैं. हेंस फार्मर कैन यूज दिस हाइब्रिड प्लांट सीड्स प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय एपोमिक्सिस, एंड एवरी ईयर a new crop can be raised over there. Well, I tried my best to explain. अगर नहीं पता चला तो इसको अभी क्रैम अप कर लो. With this, I conclude the chapter. I repeat, next Tuesday आपको marks मिल जाएंगे. Next week तक हम एक strategy develop करेंगे by which we can conduct your viva. We are working for that. And next lecture onwards, we will start the third chapter in our syllabus. Thank you for your cooperation for the extension of the no homework. But thank you for your cooperation for the extension of the lecture, and thank you to Nimish sir also. I conclude the meet. You can join your physics meet